Hello, and welcome to the cozy little place on the internet that I like to call Chatting with the Voices in My Head. It's a podcast-ish thingy that I do on a regular basis here. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Now prepare to die. Sorry, that's not it. Hold on a second. I got this one. I don't need your help. Hello, my name is Blaine Shields, and I want to welcome you and say thank you for joining me today. And I would also like to say to each and every one of you, I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. 2020. There's a lot of talk out there about there not being much to be thankful for this year, and there's a lot of people out there who are clamoring by their calendars, waiting for the ball to drop in New York City to let them know that it's okay to take those 2020 calendars out to the backyard and ceremoniously burn them in effigy to make way for the new calendars, for the new year, for the year 2021 to commence. Look, I get it. 2020's been like playing a game of Russian roulette with a revolver that's loaded with 6 shots. It hasn't played by all the rules, just like your cousins used to do when you were younger, and they used to play spoons or Uno. But you've made it through, maybe with a little wear and tear, some scorch marks, and a misfired arrow stuck in your back. But you've made it. Congratulations! But before we discount the year 2020 as a year of not-so-good stuff, and so very little to redeem itself, let's take a look at something that I think tells a different story. The weather patterns and the forest fires and the natural disasters that hit our nation and our world reminded us that no matter how much we think we're in control, there is so much out there that we are not in control of. And the things that we consider to be most important, our jobs, our finances, our possessions, those things do not amount to a hill of beans compared to the things that are really and truly important. Our family, our friends, our pets, our faith, connections. Further pressing against this year was the outbreak of the pandemic better known as COVID-19, coronavirus, or that bug from overseas that made us all wear a mask and have to figure out what 6 feet looked like. COVID-19 has taken a huge toll on our world, our nation, our state, and our local hometowns. It's also taken a fair share of toll on our families and our friends. And my heart goes out to all who have suffered and lost loved ones due to this virus. And to all who have had to watch over and been deeply affected as frontline workers, who have seen the toll taken up close and personal and have had to watch so many pass tragically on their watch. Again, while looking at what the cost has been, I'm driven to look further at what we have been reminded to be more important than the things that we are too often distracted by. You know, things like our jobs, our games, our sports, our television, our parties, and so forth. 2020 has driven many of us to realize the importance of contact, the importance of both reaching out to others and of being reached out to by others. Connectivity, helping one another out, hearing the voice of a loved one, seeing their faces, hugging, loving, and being loved. 2020 has also brought a lot of negative attitudes out and flushed out a lot of hatred that we may have thought was washed away in the past, but it still exists. Hatred of people because of color, sex, religion, age, and so forth. But inasmuch as it's brought out these things, like hydrogen peroxide brings out an infection, it's also brought out the best in us. A desire to let love rise above hatred, to call out the things which are wrong as just being plain wrong, and to challenge one another to be better. 2020 has affected families and schools, putting children who would normally be at school every day into situations where they're now at home, and putting some parents, sometimes for the first time, into a position of having to work with their children. For many, or dare I say all of us, this has been a challenge. We are forced to realize that not only do we not know about this modern math, but that it can't possibly be written in English, and we still don't understand it, even after reading the books thousands of times, watching the Google and YouTube helplines, crying out, drinking heavily, and trying to read through it once again. And for many, the whole process of schooling at home has been a challenge, but it's also brought relationships and understanding of how our kids learn and what they need to many homes. And don't even get me started about the fantastic support teams that are out there doing more than their part, like the lunch teams that have taken to preparing meals for children and families during this time when the school cafeterias have been closed. Their hearts for people have shone forth brilliantly in all of this. 2020 has also worked to break our pride, and in a good way, I think. We're told we need to do certain things to help keep others safe, like wear a mask and stay distant. And for some, this has been a challenge, pushing them to fight back, that they will not be told what they must do. Kind of like when I tell my kids that they need to clean their room or do their homework. But this has been an outcry of our pride and ego for far too many. Now, there are those who have health issues that prevent them from being able to wear a mask, especially over lengthy periods of time. But that number is tiny compared to those who refuse to just because they will not be told what to do. This year has been a year of breaking our pride, teaching us to be humble and to love our neighbor as ourselves. Funny, I remember a couple of lines in the Bible about this, and still there are those who kick the ground at the mention of wearing masks and distance who will try and pin it on their God-given rights. 2020 has also been a year of challenging us to be better, to think of others first, to ask what we can do to help others around us, to focus on the elderly and those who are unable to get around, to cherish the relationships that we have with family and friends, both near and far. This Christmas, I want each and every one to think about the fact that the holiday of Christmas isn't about presents or parties. It isn't about the holiday programs or the eggnog or the fruitcake, and I do love eggnog and fruitcake. It isn't about the large gatherings or the Christmas trees or the lights. It's about a baby who was born in Bethlehem, who is called Emmanuel, reaching out from heaven to our hearts and to promise a fulfillment being poured out in love to those who were too caught up in the distractions of the world to realize that they needed healing and help and love. Cherish the relationships that you have, even when you disagree with one another. 2020 has been a terrible year, and yet it's also been a wonderful one. Don't lose sight of the importance, not of the stuff, not of the wealth, but of love. For unto you was born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. Merry Christmas, and God bless. You are loved.